Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Adonis podcast. I am pissed off today, and that is due to the management of the tally strip. They suddenly have a problem with me, and I have no idea why. I kid you not, I asked them why more than once in front of police witnesses, and they would not give me an answer. Let me explain. So the other night, I went to the tally strip. A friend of mine was in Tallahassee from out of town. He's a Tallahassee native. He came back here for his birthday, and his friends wanted to surprise him, so they invited me and some other people to show up there to surprise him for his birthday. I don't really go out. I don't particularly go to the strip anymore, especially due to a different one of their managers getting involved in my personal life when she should not have, which I'll get to later in the episode. But I said, why not? I haven't been out in months. I could get out. But I also told him, so I first told him about the situation I had with management previously, where one particular manager was getting involved in a situation that had nothing to do with them or their company, happened nowhere near even their property line. I told him, even though she seems okay, I said, I know these kind of people like to hold a grudge. And I said to him, I wouldn't be surprised if they trespass me when I show up there, or if there's some kind of problem there. And funny enough, that's exactly what happened. I was telling someone the other day, I said, I swear to God, I have a superpower. And that superpower is being able to see the future. Because exactly what I said would happen ended up happening that night. Obviously, my friend, because nobody ever believes me ever until I prove them right, my friend was like, you just gotta think positively. If you're not bothering anybody, they'll probably leave you alone. Just stay out of their sight and come hang out with us. So I told him, I said, I will go. And I said, but I don't know how long I'll be able to stay. And because I wouldn't be surprised, and you should not be surprised either, if they kick me out and trespass me. I told him I have a gut feeling that I'm not wanted there. I haven't been officially trespassed from there or told that I'm not welcome there. But I have a gut feeling that that they do not want me there. Let's do an overview of the night. It was a genuinely good night until the end. So I get there. Now, the tally strip, in case you're listening from outside of Tallahassee, the tally strip is basically 6 different bars under one roof. That's why they call it the strip. A lot of people who are not familiar with the Tallahassee area think that it's a strip club because of the name, but actually it's not a strip club. It's just a strip of bars under one roof. It is located by Tennessee Street and Raven Street. And if you've been in Tallahassee long enough, you know that there's a lot of weird people that hang around Tennessee Street at nighttime. A lot of homeless people, a lot of crackheads, a lot of hoodlums. So I pull up, and there's a parking garage that you walk through to get in line. So I'm walking through the parking garage. I kid you not, as I'm walking through, some homeless crackhead looks at me, and he's trying to sell his clothing to everybody. He's literally out here trying to sell shirts. I specifically heard him say word for word, I got everything, man. I got shirts, I got hoodies, I even got underwear. And I said to myself, why is this guy trying to sell his underwear to college students? He's a crackhead. He doesn't know any better. So, as everyone else who was walking through that garage, I walked past him and paid him no mind whatsoever. For some reason, out of all the people that were walking through that garage, he started following me. I tried several times to ignore him. It got to the point where I was literally standing at the back of the line, and he was right next to me, begging me to buy something for him. So I turned to him and I said, fuck off. And then he goes, alright, well, you don't have to be so mean, bro, and walks away. Alright, well, you didn't have to fucking follow me, but here we are. The way the strip is set up is there's one security guard who checks you to make sure you're not carrying any weapons on you, and then there's a separate security guard that actually IDs you and lets you in the club. When it was my turn to be checked, the security guard stopped the line and told me to hold on a second, and I could tell that he was waiting for a signal from another security guard. At first I figured maybe it was just crowd control because it was a very packed night, but because of what happened when I left the strip, I now think that they may have done that specifically because it was me. But once he got the signal, he let me in, showed the security guard my ID, gave the door girl my money, walked in, no problems. Went straight upstairs, up to Yanni's, that's where my friends were. Found my friends, met some of the people they brought with them. I barely interacted with anyone else for the entire night. So what did happen that night? So firstly, there was a girl who tried to steal my sunglasses. I kid you not, I was standing somewhere on the dance floor with my friends, and I feel my glasses are being lifted up off of my head. So I quickly grabbed my glasses and shot a nasty glare at the person behind me. As I turned around, I saw the girl move her hand back because she literally had her hands on my fucking head. She quickly moved her hand back and goes, "Oh, sorry." I didn't say anything. I just turned back around. I kid you not, 2 seconds later, she tried to take them off my head again. So I shot her another glare, and then I just moved I moved away from her. "Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. You say sorry when you bump into me. You say sorry when you trip on someone's foot. You say sorry for things that are accidental. Stealing someone's sunglasses is not accidental. What the fuck is wrong with you?" The only other interaction I've really had, like I said, I barely had an interaction with anyone outside of the group I was with. But the only other interaction I really had was with another girl. So this girl came up to me. I was actively checking something on my phone. She came up to me and she wanted to dance. And I wasn't interested. And I made it very obvious that I wasn't interested. So she started begging me, started tapping me on my arm. She's like, "Come on, dance with me." So I flicked her off. I kid you not, this girl grabs my arm and goes, "You don't have to be mean. Find someone else to dance with. I'm not interested, lady." So I just kept ignoring her and she left. Now let's break this down a little bit. So I don't know this girl. I don't know if she's a good person or a bad person. Why didn't I want to dance with her? Because I don't know her. She could be a sweet, innocent girl who's just looking for someone to dance. She could be secretly friends with one of my enemies, because that's happened to me before. So she could be friends with someone that I don't get along with, and they're trying to set me up, and they're saying, "Oh, go dance with him." So I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'll dance with you." We're dancing, we're having a good time. Then she runs to someone of authority and says, "Oh, Adonis grabbed me without my consent. Adonis touched me without my consent. Adonis is trying to get me to dance with him, and I don't want to dance with him." Now, why do I have this mentality? Because it's happened to me more than once. I don't trust people in general. I don't trust my own friends sometimes. I certainly don't trust any stranger I meet at a bar. So no, I don't want to dance with you, because maybe my suspicion's wrong, and maybe you have no idea who I am, and you're genuinely just looking for someone to dance with because you're having a good time. Or maybe you're an agent for one of my enemies who's trying to set me up. I don't know. Crazy shit has happened to me in my past. I'd rather play the safe card and just not talk to you. But what level of entitlement do you have to try and force me to dance with you? Because first you asked me to dance, I said no. Then you asked me again. I want you to envision this really quick. If I, as a man, walked up to a girl and asked her to dance, and she said no, and then I begged her to dance with me anyway, she would instantly report me for sexual harassment, or just harassment in general, touching without consent, etc. Because mind you, when this girl came up to me, she immediately tapped my arm, and she was like, "Come on, let's dance." Me as a man, if I want to dance with the lady, I have to walk up to her and get her attention without touching her and ask her if she wants to dance. Because the minute I put my hands on her, she can run to someone and report me for non-consensual touching, and she can put me in jail. But a girl can come up to me and grab my arm. She can fully grab my arm. I might not know her. I might have never seen this girl before. She comes up to me and straight up grabs my arm. She's not gonna go to jail. She's not gonna face any consequences for her actions. I'm not saying that I was upset that the girl touched me. I don't make a big deal out of things. I'm just using this example to illustrate a point. That if I acted towards a girl the way that woman acted towards me as a man, I would most likely be in jail right now. Which is why I hate it when feminists argue that there is a gender equality. There is no gender equality because women constantly get away with things that men would go to jail for. So I also think this girl is entitled because after the first no, she still asked me to dance with her again. And after I flicked her off, because being nice didn't work, so I flicked her off. And that didn't work either because now she wants to talk about, well, you don't have to be mean. I tried to be nice to you. I tried to simply tell you no, and you weren't taking no for an answer. So you left me no choice but to be mean to you, to get my point across, to tell you, hey, I'm not interested, lady. I don't want to fucking dance with you. It took me being a little rude for you to get the point across that, oh, this guy's not interested in me at all and wants nothing to do with me. I should probably find someone else to dance with. So this girl obviously thinks, oh, I'm so pretty and I'm so great, no guy can resist me, that she was shocked when someone said no to her because she's never been told no in her life. She's never heard the word no as a child. She's been raised to think she could do whatever she wants and get away with it because she's a girl. She might not be a bad person. I don't know her. I barely even looked at her. I don't know her to hate her. I don't know her to say she's a good person or a bad person. From the minimal interaction that I had with her, I can tell you that she has some level of cockiness to her. She may not even realize she's being cocky. But for you to walk up to a complete stranger and expect them to do something and then get upset when they don't do it, you have to have some level of arrogance. Like I said, she might not even realize she's being arrogant by expecting me to dance with her and then getting shocked when I didn't. She's probably so used to every guy saying yes that she was shocked when someone finally said no. I'm not trying to make a big deal about it. I don't have an issue with this chick. I don't know this chick. I've never seen her before. If I saw her again, I probably wouldn't even recognize her. But like I said, I'm just trying to illustrate a point that there is no gender equality because if I did to a woman what she did to me, I would be in jail. And she does have some level of arrogance to her that she herself may not even realize because you walked up to a stranger and expected him to do something or act in a certain way. And when that didn't happen, when I didn't meet your expectations, you were absolutely bewildered by it. Other than that, it was generally a good night, except for the end, which I'm about to get to. I basically just hung out with the group that I came to see, and I had almost zero interaction with anyone else outside of the group. That includes staff, other guests, anyone really. When it was time to go, we left around closing time, and it might have been like 1:40 or 1:50. We left like right before 2 o'clock. We all left together. We stopped at, I forget because they keep changing the name of that. I think it's called Bar K now or something, but we stopped at one of their other bars, sat down for maybe 2 seconds, and then immediately walked out. As I was walking out, and see, this is where my night went from a great night to an absolute shit night, some big fat guy. So I don't know who he was talking to, but he points right at me and he says, "Get this guy right here." He starts walking towards me. He goes, "Yo, excuse me." Gets up in my face. I kid you not, I felt his blubber on my fucking cheek. That's how close he got to me. I have no idea who this guy is. He's fat and he smells like absolute horseshit. I try to ignore him. He comes around and literally stands in my path, tries to block me from leaving. Mind you, it's closing time. Everyone, including myself, we're trying to leave. I'm trying to leave with the group I came to hang out with. He separates me from my group and literally blocks my path so I can't go anywhere. And he says, "Hey, I'm talking to you." I looked him right in the eye and I said, "I'm not talking to you," attempted to leave again. He immediately calls the cops over because there's oftentimes cops hanging out in the strip parking lot. He goes, "Yo, trespass this guy." And that's when I got confused. I'm like, wait a minute, who the fuck is this guy? Does he work here? I've never seen this guy before. He doesn't have a security shirt on. He doesn't have any uniform whatsoever. I thought it was some random fat ass who smelled like horseshit trying to start a problem with me. For what reason, I don't know. I don't know you. If I don't know you, then I don't know you enough to have a problem with you. So whatever problem you have with me, it's totally imaginary and in your head. Because I don't know who you are. I came here to see a specific group of people. I'm trying to leave with that group of people. I don't know, nor do I care who you are or what you want from me. I'm not obliged to talk to anyone I don't want to. I don't even have to talk to law enforcement if I don't want to. It's called the Fifth Amendment. You can literally get arrested and get convicted for a crime. They can prove you guilty, and the entire time, you have the right to remain silent. Nobody has to talk to anyone that they don't want to. So the police, they went with their usual procedure of, explaining how trespass works and the trespass general rules, which I already knew, because, surprise, surprise, it's not my first time being trespassed from somewhere. And I was questioning whether or not this guy really works here, and I have a few complaints with TPD because of how they handle it. Now, I'm not mad at TPD, they were just doing their jobs, but there were some things I noticed that they could have done better. First of all, I asked them, I'm like, how do you know this guy even works here? I had no idea this guy works here because there's literally nothing about this guy that tells me that he works here. He didn't even tell me that he worked here. I actually know a few of the managers that work at the Tally Strip, and I've been going to the strip for years, and I've never seen this guy before in my life before. So how do I know that he works here in the first place or has any authority? And the cop didn't really answer my question. He just said, "Oh, we've just been told to trespass you, so that's what we're doing." I'm like, okay, so you haven't confirmed whether or not this guy has the authority to do so. But as they were writing up the trespass, I noticed that the guy was giving instructions to security and whatnot. So obviously he has some sort of authority there. So I said, well, why am I being trespassed? I asked several times, actually, why am I being trespassed? And they would not give me an answer. I don't think the police even knew why I was being trespassed, because in the state of Florida, you can trespass anyone from your establishment at any time for any reason. And this was an example the cops used. He said, think of it as your house. You can kick someone out of your house for any reason. It could be, I don't like the color of your shoes. This is word for word what the cop said. It could be, I don't like the color of your shoes, or I don't even have to give you a reason. If I want you out, I want you out. And he said this kind of works in a similar way because it's a privately owned establishment. They can kick you out and not even have to give you a reason as to why. And I told the police, I'm like, I'm very confused because I've had almost zero interaction with anyone else tonight other than the people that I came here to see. Obviously, they didn't have a problem with me because I was hanging out with them. It's not like I got drunk or something and acted irrationally because I haven't gone to the bar. I haven't had a single drink all night. I didn't leave the group once. I didn't even leave the group to go to the fucking bathroom. So I'm very confused as to why, as soon as I'm leaving the club, he just points and goes, trespass. And then when I try to figure out, okay, well, what did I do to deserve getting trespassed? How come everyone else can come back here whenever y'all are open and come out here at will and come in here and party and drink? How come there are other people who actively get drunk on your property and act irrationally? How come they don't get into any trouble whatsoever or face consequences for their actions? How come they can come back the next day and they come in here and they party and drink and they come for their friend's birthday party and they have no problem whatsoever? But now I can't do that and you won't even tell me why? I'm trying to understand, why am I being punished? That's like, That's like, and I know this doesn't happen in real life, or at least it shouldn't happen, but that would be like if they arrested me, they put me in a cell, and when my trial comes, the judge says, I sentence you to however many months or years in jail or in prison. Okay, well, for what crime? We're not telling you. I'm sorry, what? So they arrested me, I have no idea why. They put me in a cell, I have no idea why. I don't know why I'm on trial, and now I've been convicted of some crime, and I don't even know what that crime is. Imagine going to prison, and you're with your newfound prison gang, and they're all telling all their cool stories about how they got arrested. One guy robbed a bank, one guy was on a money heist, one guy, I don't know, was involved in some shootout because he was trafficking drugs or whatever. They got all these cool action-packed, Fast and Furious level stories about how they got arrested. And then it's your turn. So, why are you here? What were you convicted of? How did you get arrested? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? It's okay, we're all criminals here. You can tell us, no one's gonna judge you. We've all gone to jail for heinous things that we've done, where no one's judging you here. This is a safe space. No, I'm being honest, guys. I legit don't know, because I asked why I was being sent here, and they wouldn't tell me. So that's how I feel in this situation. I feel like I'm being punished, and I don't even know what I did to deserve it. Clearly, they have a problem with me, so if you have a problem with me, tell me what that problem is. And then the manager who has me trespassed, literally the only thing he would say to me, it's so funny because as I was walking out, he tried to stop me and he was ready to have this big discussion until he got the cops involved, and he was silent as a mouse. Because every time I turned to him and asked him, why are you having me trespassed? He would just look at me and not say a word. I think the only thing he said during the entire interaction I had between him and the police, he said to the police, he didn't even talk to me directly. He said to the police officers, make sure he knows that he can't come back here at any time of day, not when we're closed. He can't use this parking lot, nothing. And so, yeah, the police confirmed with me, too. Like, that includes the parking lot, that includes the parking garage, which they're probably talking in reference, because, and I used to live at Nova, because Nova's right behind the Tally Strip. When I used to live at Nova, I would sometimes cut across the parking lot at the Tally Strip as a shortcut to go to the McDonald's that's on Tennessee Street. Because otherwise, I would have to go around the entire block. It's much quicker to just cut through the parking garage than walk the entire block. And the entire time I lived at Nova, I did that, and I didn't have a problem. There were times where I would see them, like, setting up for the night or whatever, and I would greet the staff. I saw the managers out there, I'd say hi to them, too. Funny enough, I recognized the managers. I would say hi to them. They'd say hello back. The white bearded man that had me trespassed, didn't see him once. I've never seen this man before in my life. So I can factually say I didn't cause any problems that night. If they're holding a grudge because of something I did a previous night, then they should have handled it back then, not wait for me to come back additionally. So they clearly had a problem with me being there. So why did you let me in? Why did you take my money, let me in, and only trespass me as I was on the way out? It's almost like they were trying to scam me in a sense. They were kind of like, you know what, this is probably why security stopped the line when I got to the line. They were probably having a discussion in their earpieces. They were like, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and scam this kid. Let him in. Let him pay the cover. Let him buy some drinks so we can get his money. And then we'll trespass him instead of trespassing him now while he's trying to get in, because at least this way, we can get some of his money before we send him off. Another small complaint that I had with the police that I noticed is, while one of them was like looking me up in the system or whatever, and someone was taking notes, one of the officers, because there were two police officers, one of them asked me, he said, do you have plans to come back here? And I said to him, out from trespass, no. And in my head, I'm thinking, why would you even ask me that? Why would you ask me No, I don't have plans to come back here because you've now made it illegal for me to come here. I'm obviously not welcome here. But even if I did have plans to come back here, why would I tell the police officer who's actively trespassing me, oh yeah, I'm just going to completely ignore this and then come back here? Because saying you're going to commit a crime is actually enough evidence for them to arrest you. So why would I say to the police officer, oh yeah, like what did he expect my answer to be? Yes, officer, I'm going to ignore this trespass warning and I'm going to come back here because I don't care. And now you guys can take me to jail because I've been told that I legally cannot come here, but I have plans to do that anyway. Like, legit, that's such a stupid question. Legit, why did you ask me that? The one thing he said to me before I walked off, the manager looked at me and he said, if you come back here, you're going to jail. He said, if you do so much as enter the parking garage, you're going to jail. Funny how there are homeless people literally living in that parking garage. They sleep in there, they pee in there, so public indecency, no one wants to talk about that. They live in there, they harass people coming in, because, first of all, when I walked in, and there's some crackhead trying to sell his underwear to people minding their own business, just coming here for a good time, that's a little weird, you know? I could understand if they trespassed him for that, but nope. What he's doing is perfectly fine, apparently. Standing on the street and trying to sell someone, I don't know what the legal grounds is for that, but I do know that it is illegal to try and sell things on private property, or in other words, you know, go to try and sell stuff at another business. For example, I might be able to stand on the sidewalk with a lemonade stand and sell y'all lemonade, and that might be illegal in some areas. But I can't go to Walmart and walk the aisles and try to sell stuff to people. I can't even do that in the Walmart parking lot unless I have permission from Walmart directly. If I went to Walmart management or whatever and got permission to, you know, set up a booth or whatever and sell stuff, whether it's merchandise, lemonade, whatever, then that would be allowed. But I can't just walk into a business or onto privately owned property and sell shit. So what that guy was doing was technically illegal, because we now know, see, I thought that the parking lot at the strip was public property, and including the parking garage. Apparently I was wrong, but I always thought that was public property, because I walked across it several times. They didn't have an issue. I saw my Nova neighbors use it as a shortcut as well when they were walking off of campus from class and they were trying to get back to their apartment. I see homeless fucks all around that parking lot and in the parking garage every single time I'm in there. And the fact that they've seen me cut across that parking lot several times and haven't said a word. Yeah, I thought it was a public parking lot and it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't an issue at all what I was doing. But apparently I was wrong. My bad, I was wrong for once. Now that I know that that entire property, including the parking garage, is privately owned by the Tally Strip, and that means that what that homeless guy was doing, trying to sell his underwear, was technically illegal, because he is trying to conduct business on private property. You know what else could be, you know what else is a good excuse to trespass these homeless fucks is, you know, people are walking by him. Why is it that when I walked past him, he then followed me? You try to sell something to me, I ignore you, and then you try to follow me. That's harassment. That's why I felt no sympathy when I told him to fuck off, and then he goes, all right, well, you didn't have to be mean. All right, well, you didn't have to fucking follow me. Because technically speaking, that's harassment. Hypocritical bitch. So let's get into trespassing and why I don't agree with certain aspects of it. Because how come I'm not allowed to go to the strip to what? To buy a few drinks and hang out with my friends? I can't do that. Why can't I do that? I don't know. But you're okay with homeless dudes sleeping in your parking lot and in your parking garage. You're well aware of this. Everyone is well aware of this. Everybody talks about how the parking garage smells like literal urine because homeless dudes hang out in there and piss in there all the time. So you don't care about the people who are causing an actual disturbance. I came in here and literally only interacted with the group I came here to see. And suddenly I'm a problem somehow. If this isn't proof, guys, isn't something that I say on this podcast is that half the time, actually, I would say about 90% of the time that I have issues with people, I don't even know why they have an issue with me. I just know that they have an issue with me and they're acting irrational about it. So at some point, I have to start treating them the way they start treating me, as a self-defense mechanism. I even asked my friend, because I texted him after we were all long gone, and I told him what happened. And I said to him, what could I have possibly done to deserve that? And he said, literally nothing. I was with him the entire night. I was within his eyesight the entire night. He knows, and so does that entire group, they know that I wasn't bothering anybody. I was literally minding my own business. This is where I disagree with the trespassing law. So you can trespass anyone from any reason, or you don't have to have a reason, okay? Well, that opens up the window for a lot of trouble, let's say. Discrimination is one of them. So let's say a white guy, this is actually a perfect example, because the manager who had me trespass is actually a white guy. I don't know why he had me trespass or what he wanted to talk about before he had me trespass or why he has an issue with me. So let's just make an assumption here. Let's say he sees me walking out and he says to himself in the privacy of his own thoughts, I don't like that nigger. So he points at me and he goes, get this guy right here. And he's saying to himself, or he's saying amongst his coworkers, I don't like this guy. I'm going to get him trespassed because he's black. Well, you can't do that because that's discrimination and that would be illegal. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have to provide a reason. Wow, what a perfect loophole to get away with discrimination. I could say to myself, I'm white and I don't like you because you're black. So I'm going to trespass you from my public establishment. Why? Well, I can't tell you. Well, I'm not going to tell you it's because you're black because that would be discrimination and then I'm going to get sued. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have to give you a reason. Why am I being trespassed? I'm not going to tell you. Because if I was actually causing a problem, don't you think they would have taken care of it? If I was causing so much of a problem, don't you think that when he stopped the line, when I walked up, they would have turned me away? They would have told me, you can't come in here, you're not allowed here, or whatever. Don't you think that if I was causing a problem at any point during the night, someone from the security team would have kicked me out of there? Why did they take my money and wait for me to leave before they took action if I was actually a problem? Legally speaking, yes, he doesn't have to provide a reason. But considering the fact most places will give you a reason as a common courtesy, despite the fact that you usually won't get trespassed unless you're actually causing a public disturbance, the fact that they just said, oh, no reason, we're just going to point and say trespass, that raises a lot of suspicion as to why. Because I've been coming here for years, no problems, no issues, I've shown you guys my support. Now, yes, I have criticized them in the past, but I can confidently and truthfully say to you guys that until this podcast, I have said more good things about the tally strip than bad things. Way more good things than bad things. I've always shown them support. I've reposted their posts. I've reposted their events. I've told people to go to their events. Never had a problem. Out of nowhere, some manager that I've never seen before in my life, trespass. Why? We're not telling you. I contacted the owner. I asked him, hey, did I do something to piss y'all off? Because I've been coming here, never had a problem. I can confidently say that I did not cause a problem last night due to the fact that I had minimal interaction with the other guests. Therefore, it would literally be impossible for me to be the source of a problem. He ignored me. So the owner doesn't give a shit, because he straight up ignored me. Now let's talk about professional courtesies. Let's go back to the example of the cop when he specifically said, oh, they could discriminate you because of your shoe color. Oh, so when he said, oh, they could trespass you because they don't like your shoe color, whatever. Oh, so shoe discrimination, that's a thing? That's a new thing now, shoe discrimination? All right, bet. I'm going to sue these guys. I'm going to take them to court. Oh, they discriminated against me. What kind of discrimination? A shoe discrimination. What's that? I never heard of that. Yeah, me neither. But apparently that's a thing now. The cop used that as an example himself. Why were you trespassed from this establishment? Because of a shoe discrimination. There's no dress code. There's no signs that say, similarly to how there's no signs that say this is private property, nobody can enter this parking garage when we're closed or whatever. So I had no idea that I was actually walking on private property. There's also no sign with a dress code, and they don't enforce any dress code. None of that. So yeah, apparently shoe discrimination is a thing now. But regardless, the other example the cop used was, oh, let's say someone comes to your house, you can kick them out because you don't like the color of their shoes or whatever. Firstly, my house is my safe haven. My house is a private area. This is a public establishment. It might be privately owned, but it is a public establishment. It is a nightclub open to the public as long as you're over the age of 18. If someone comes to my house, they have to knock on my door and wait for permission to be let in. If you go to a nightclub like the Strip, you show them your ID, you give them money, and they let you in. Say I went to a friend's house, okay, now we're in a private establishment. This is truly a private establishment. Nobody can just walk into any house they feel like, okay? You can walk into any grocery store you feel like. You can walk into, generally speaking, you can walk into any shopping mall, any restaurant, any club. Whether they're privately owned or publicly owned. Most businesses are privately owned. Most businesses are not owned by the government. But regardless of where you're going, generally speaking, you can go wherever you want to. Obviously, you can't just walk up into any house you feel like. So let's say I get an invite from my friend to go to his house, and I show up there, and he goes, okay, I'm kicking you out now. Why? Because I don't like the color of your shoes. Alright, that's a weird reason to kick me out, but I could go home and change my shoes to a different color shoes if you want. No, you can just not come back here. I don't like your shoes. I don't ever want to see you here again. Okay, well then I never want to speak to you again. Because what kind of psychopath kicks out his friends because of a shoe color? So that's actually a pretty stupid example for the police to say, oh, I could kick you out because I don't like the color of your shoes. Yeah, technically you can, but only an unreasonable person would actually do that. If I go to my friend's house and we're having a great time, and then out of nowhere he goes, okay, get out. I'm kicking you out of my house. I don't want you here. Get out. Why? What'd I do? I'm not telling you get out. The fuck you mean get out? I thought we were having a great time. I'm telling you to get... Yeah, I know. I'm leaving. I'll be respectful. I will leave if you don't want me here. But I'd like to know why, because I thought we were having a good time. I don't think I was causing a problem. I'd like to know why you're suddenly upset, why you suddenly want me out of your house. Well, I'm not required by law to tell you that. Okay, yeah, I'm never speaking to you again. Yeah, I understand that it's not illegal for you to not give me a reason, but you're being a fucking douchebag. That's like grounding your kid. You tell your kid you're grounded. Okay, why? I'm not telling you. The fuck you mean you're not telling me why I'm grounded? Because I'm not required by law. There's no law in the law book that says that I am required to tell my kids why I am grounding them. Seriously? Yeah, there are plenty of things that you don't have to do because they're not necessarily required by law. But you do it as common courtesy. You do it as a contributing member of society. You do it because there's a million reasons I could think of. Okay, you might not want to go to work this morning. You're not required by law to show up to your job, but you do it out of respect for your employer and your coworkers. You're not required by law to text your grandmother happy birthday, but you do it to show her that you love her and you care about her. Oh, grandson, it was my birthday and I didn't hear from you. Did you forget? Now you could say, oh, I'm sorry, Grandma, I've been so busy and I completely forgot it was your birthday. Or you could say, well, I'm not required by law to text my grandmother happy birthday. That's a lame excuse. You're a trespass. Why? Well, I'm not required by law. Yeah, I know that. I still want to know why. I want to understand what I did. How are you going to literally have a problem with me and then not tell me what the problem is? That's like if your girlfriend breaks up with you. Oh, why do you want to break up? I'm not telling you why. Because I'm not required by law to tell you why I want to break up with you. What the fuck? So let's talk about some illegal shit that Strip is doing, since they want to talk about like, oh, Adonis, if you come back here, you're going to jail. Well, that manager who confronted me, technically he's a criminal. The first thing he did is he got up in my personal space. Invading someone's personal space is not inherently a crime, but it can become illegal if it crosses the line into harassment, assault, or battery. Actions like unwanted physical contact. I quite literally felt his fat on my face, so yeah, that's unwanted physical contact. Threatening behavior, well, yeah, he got up in my face in a very angry manner, so that could be perceived as threatening. Or even closely following someone who feels threatened can be considered illegal depending on the specific circumstances and location. So first of all, that man invaded my personal space without my consent. Mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, the first time when I tried to get by him, he then walked around me and tried to block me. That is actually illegal. It is illegal to detain someone against their will. Why do you think shoplifters get away so easily sometimes? Let me explain to you why shoplifters often get away with their crimes at retail stores like Walmart or Target. A lot of people may think, oh, these stores just don't care, they don't know. Oh, trust me, they know when you're stealing from them. They legally cannot detain you. They cannot force you to stay there. They could have you on camera stuffing merchandise into your pockets and walking out of the store without paying for it. They still cannot prevent you from leaving the store. A manager could come out of his office and walk up to you. He could attempt to talk to you. He could attempt to confront you. But he cannot force you to stay there. That is illegal. And that includes trying to purposefully block your path so that you cannot leave and you are forced to stay there. So him walking around me and standing in front of me in an attempt to block me so that I could not leave, that's technically he was attempting to detain me against my will. Also, when he tried to block me, I already tried to walk past him after he invaded my personal space. And then he came after me again. So that's also harassment. So that's 2 crimes that he's committed right there. Number 1 being harassment, and number 2 being attempting to detain me against my will. Let's talk about all the other stuff Strip is doing that is illegal, highly illegal actually. I typically don't get involved in shit that doesn't concern me, but they've pissed me off, so I'm laying it all out there. There are underage people in that bar every single night that they're open. People in possession of fake IDs, people who are under 21, minors who are under the age of 18 that sneak in that bar, or they fool security with fake IDs, or security knows the IDs are fake, but they let them in anyway. And then they get served alcohol. You hear that? I hope to God that the sheriff's department and that the Tallahassee Police Department are listening to this episode. There is underage drinking happening in that bar every single night that they are open. There are people who either fool security with fake IDs, or they know somebody who gives them an over 21 band, or they go in with their real ID and they get an under 21 band and they drink anyway. Out of all the bars I've been to in Tallahassee, I would say that the Tally Strip is the number one bar that does not give a shit about absolutely anything. Their floors are filthy, their bathrooms are disgusting, which I'm pretty sure that's a health hazard. I wouldn't be surprised when I say their bathrooms are dirty. Either the toilet or the sink is broken almost every time. I would not be surprised if they have a rat problem or a roach problem, because there is no way that they are that filthy and they don't have some sort of infestation that we don't see when we're not there. They also have a huge drug problem. There are plenty of people who go to the strip on drugs or with drugs, and they do drugs in the club. More specifically, they oftentimes, to not make it so obvious, they'll sneak away to the bathroom. I have walked in the bathroom just to use it, just minding their own business, and I've noticed large groups of people going in one stall to take turns doing cocaine. Now, the reason why I've never mentioned this before is, one, because I was cool with the Tally Strip, and two, it's none of my business. I was taught to mind my own business unless it directly affected me, unless someone was in immediate danger or about to get hurt or killed. If something doesn't concern me, I stay out of it. I have my own shit to deal with. We all have our own problems. We all have our own drama. Eventually, they can't hide this forever. Eventually, they're going to lose their liquor license and be shut down. It happens. Eventually, they're going to face the consequences of their actions. I'm not a police officer. I'm not part of any kind of law enforcement. It is not my job to stop them from doing this, nor is it my job to report it or get involved in it whatsoever. But since they want to be cunts to me and start a problem and then not even tell me what that problem is, now I'm going to expose them. And no, I don't have proof of the drugs and underage drinking, but I feel that I don't really need any because everybody in the city knows that it happens. Plenty of freshmen go to that bar specifically because they know that they can drink there underage and get away with it and not face any consequences for it. And somehow, and this is another complaint that I have towards the Tallahassee Police Department, generally speaking, I don't really have anything bad to say about the Tallahassee Police Department. But this is another complaint that I have with them. How is it that literally everyone knows about the drugs and the underage drinking that is happening at the Tally Strip every night that they're open, except law enforcement? How come everybody but law enforcement knows that? How come there are police officers that sit in that parking lot every night that they're open and they don't notice people walking out of there drunk with an under 21 band on? How do they not notice people who are clearly not 21 going in and out of the bar, getting drunk, getting plastered, getting hammered drunk? So to any law enforcement listening, and I'm going to personally send this podcast to every law enforcement agency I can find, take this as a tip for me so that y'all can go investigate and shut the place down. Because let's face it, that liquor license, that place should have lost their liquor license long before I even knew the Tally Strip existed. Let's also talk about the fights that I've seen happen in there from time to time. I've never been in a fight myself on strip property, but I have witnessed some people get kicked out for fighting in the club. Technically that's illegal, unless you have consent to fight another person, and there's different forms of that. Martial artists sometimes fight for competition or to practice. It's called sparring. Some people fight for fun, but there's some sort of consent. But usually when you see a fight, especially a bar fight, usually what happens is someone striked first, which means that technically someone was assaulted. I have unfortunately met high school girls while at the Tally Strip. It's happened at least 2 to 3 times, if not more, over the years, where I've met a girl who I assumed was of age because she's at an 18 up bar and drinking alcohol. And we'll start to have a conversation, and then it will come up in conversation, oh, how old are you? Oh, I'm 16. I'm sorry, what? Now, when this happens, the first thing that I do is walk away. If I got her contact information before that, I will block her and delete it. But my main goal is to basically walk away and not get to know this girl any more than I already do. Now, I don't go out of my way to report it to authorities. I don't go out of my way to tell security, none of that. Because it's not my business. And I could actually get myself in more trouble. Because if they can't find any evidence that she was actually 16, if she was, let's say she was joking. Let's say she actually was of age, but she was joking with me to see what I did or whatever. And she's actually of age. And they check her ID and they find out, okay, so she's actually 20. You said she was 16. Now I look like a liar. Now I look like I'm accusing someone of a crime that they did not commit. Or what if they confront her because, oh, Adonis told us that you told him that you're 16 years old and you're not supposed to be in here if that's the case. And now she's upset because I snitched on her. And so now she comes up with some lie, oh, Adonis raped me or something, or, because now all she's thinking is with her anger, now she's like, okay, Adonis exposed me, now I want revenge, and now she accuses me of something, and I might be proven innocent for whatever she accuses me of, but is it really worth the trouble? I'm not the owner of the business, I'm not employed by the business, I don't have anything to do with the business itself other than being a paying customer, and I'm also not law enforcement, so I leave that to management and security at Strip. If they don't want to check IDs, if they want to let minors into the club, that's their business. If the cops want to ignore the fact that there are minors stumbling out of the bar hammered drunk, and they don't want to do anything about that, that's also their business. Do I think it's right? No. But do I care enough to do something about it? No, I really don't. And the only reason I'm saying this now is quite literally because I have a personal vendetta against the Tally Strip. I'm not doing it for a safer community. I'm not trying to do my part. I'm not trying to, oh, let me help the police out, I want to do my part. No. I'm quite literally only doing this because I'm pissed off and I want revenge. I'm quite literally only doing this. I'm only exposing them because I'm pissed. I don't give a fuck about the community. I don't care if there are people running around drunk at 16 years old. I don't care if other people are hooking up with 16-year-olds. As long as I'm not the one doing it, I don't give a shit. So whatever happens after this episode, I don't know what's going to happen after I release this, but I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot of trouble. I can guarantee you that I'm going to be in a lot of trouble for releasing this. And I don't know how that's going to end for me. How it should end is Strip should face consequences for their crimes, and I should get away scot-free because I've done nothing wrong. However, there's a lot of crooked people in law enforcement. There's a lot of people with high egos. There's a lot of people who don't like me, a lot of powerful people that don't like me because I've exposed them. So I can't say for certain what's going to happen when I release this episode, but my prediction is that there is going to be some sort of trouble, and I am most likely going to get involved in it. I don't think I'm going to release this episode, and then I'm never going to hear from them ever again. Nope, I think they're going to try and contact me. Probably law enforcement's going to get involved too. They may try to say that I'm lying and hold me accountable. They may try to say that I'm reporting false crimes and try to hold me accountable for that, which that would be bullshit because that's not the case. Just because I don't have proof of something happening doesn't necessarily mean that it didn't happen. I wouldn't be surprised if the people that work at the strip try to do something to me, because quite honestly, some of the people that work there are very shady people. So I would not be surprised if they try to do something heinous to me in response to what I am now doing to them, which is exposing them. Here's another tip for the law enforcement listening to this podcast. If something happens to me and you don't know who did it, the tally strip should be your first suspect. So now that we've talked about the illegal part of the strip, let's move on. To conclude this chapter, I believe that some things need to be changed about the trespassing laws. I think that if it is a public establishment, regardless of who owns it, the people being trespassed should get a legitimate reason, because I have witnessed people straight up abuse that power of being able to trespass anyone for any reasons. I'll go to a grocery store and see people eating shit off the shelves and then putting it back, and they don't face any consequences. But then someone like me is literally just minding my own business, and I get trespassed, and I don't even know why. Or even if I'm given a reason, it's something irrationally. For example, being trespassed from an entire campus for simply carrying around an Annabelle doll, or getting trespassed from Club Recess for threats that I never made. By the way, Club Recess has an underage drinking problem too. They do the same shit with the fake IDs and underage drinking and serving minors. So does Clyde's and Costello's. So does the Warehouse. I'm saying this because Recess decided to have a problem with me too. Recess actually tried to get me arrested for threats that I never made, which I have explained on previous episodes before. They perceived a video as threatening, and they tried to say that I was making threats and I needed to be arrested for it. They showed the video to law enforcement, and law enforcement confirmed that I didn't make any threats. Perceiving something as a threat and actually making a threat are two completely different things. So, and I don't want to hear about, well, you talk in an aggressive manner and you were holding something that could be used as a weapon, and you have eyes, I have eyes. You have ears, I have ears. If I can watch the video, if law enforcement can watch the video, if Instagram support can watch that video after receiving several supports and not take it down, and we're all telling you Adonis didn't make any threats, it's because I didn't make any fucking threats. So by Recess trying to tell the police officer that he needs to arrest me for making threats that I in fact did not make, that is false information, and that is a false police report, and sooner or later I am going to sue Recess for making a false police report and defamation. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and expose them for their illegal activity, which is very similar to the illegal activity happening at the Tally Strip. And once again, everybody but law enforcement knows this somehow. So yeah, great job, TPD. That's where I complain about TPD, is how is this shit happening and literally everybody but them knows about it. Either they don't know about it or they know about it and they're choosing not to take action. It's one or the two. It's one or both of those things. So, this is going to be my final chapter in the episode. Let's talk about why I think I may have been trespassed. We all know that I'm an analyst. We all know I'm good at figuring shit out. We all know that I'm good at solving problems. Now, my first guess is because initially that guy wanted to talk to me. Keep in mind, he attempted to detain me there against my will, which is illegal. Let me repeat that. Detaining someone against their will is illegal. He doesn't have a badge. He doesn't have any right whatsoever to prevent me from leaving the property. As soon as I looked him in the eye and said, "I'm not talking to you," that's when he shouted, "Police, trespass him. So it could be that the fat man has a fragile ego and he thinks that he can treat people however which way he wants to. And he thinks that if he tells me, hey, stop, I'm talking to you, that I should automatically stop and talk to him. And him trespassing me was just him being petty because I didn't want to talk to him. I'm sorry, I don't know you, sir. I didn't know you were a manager here. And even if I did, that is no way to treat people. That is not how you treat anybody. And especially the way I was approached, you gotta view this from my perspective. I see a guy who's way taller than I am, way bigger than I am, coming up to me aggressively. I automatically see this man as a threat. I kid you not, I was getting prepared to full on fight this guy in case I needed to defend myself because he was coming at me so aggressively. I was quite literally thinking to myself, I might need to fight this guy because I don't know what these intentions are and this guy will not leave me alone. So I see some guy who is bigger than me in both body weight and height, aggressively stomping in my direction and detaining me against my will. I have no idea who this guy is. There's nothing about him whatsoever that tells me that he has authority over the establishment. My immediate reaction is, this guy's a threat. Get ready to throw a punch if you need to, depending on what he does next. We all know that I'm involved in drama all the time as a political and controversial person and as a podcaster that regularly exposes assholes for doing things that are just not right. I regularly get a lot of hate. I regularly have people call the cops on me and put in fake reports or report things that I'm doing that are not even a crime. So I'm very used to being in trouble. I wasn't shocked at all that I was trespassed. I was shocked because I'm like, wait a minute, who the fuck is this guy? Why did you wait for me to leave the club? And what did I do wrong? But as far as being trespassed, I already knew that was coming. I told my friends before I got there, days before I got there, I said, watch what's gonna happen. I'm gonna show up and they're gonna trespass me and I'm not even gonna know why. But when I said I'm not even gonna know why, I thought that they were gonna give me some bullshit excuse, like FSU PD telling me that I'm trespassed from campus because I have an Annabelle doll. I didn't think that they were just not gonna provide a reason at all. I understand that they are not required by law to tell me, but just because something's not illegal doesn't make it right. I've had drama over the years with different people for different reasons. We all have drama on some level. We're all human, no one's perfect, the world is not perfect. Even if you are the nicest guy on the planet, even Jesus himself had haters. Keep that in mind, Jesus was the perfect man, the only perfect man to ever walk this earth, and he got crucified and murdered. Jesus died for our sins because even a perfect man has enemies. Tallahassee is a very dramatic place. More specifically speaking, FSU is a very dramatic place where the students act like high schoolers. There's a lot of people here with all kinds of drama going on. I would say that I have higher drama than most people, or maybe not necessarily higher drama, but it's just more publicized because I have a popularity status here on this side of Tallahassee, and because I have a podcast, and because I'm active on social media where I actively say and do controversial things that upset people, and because I actively expose wrongdoers for their wrongdoings. So I'm very used to being involved in drama all the time. And while none of it has happened on their property, I have had issues with people who just so happen to work at the Tally Strip. But let me clarify, the Tally Strip has absolutely nothing to do with it. I don't care who works where. If I have an issue with you, I'm not thinking to myself, all right, well, where does he live? Where does he work? Who are his friends? No, I don't care. If I have an issue with you, I have an issue with you, and I'm going to resolve it in the way that I see fit. I don't care where you work. If I show up to your job, it's because I'm genuinely there for some reason for my own personal gain. For example, if you work at the Tally Strip and you and I don't get along, and then you see me at the Tally Strip, I'm not there to piss you off. I'm not there because I want to see you at work. I'm there for my own personal gain. Matter of fact, if, let's just say there's a bartender that works at the Strip, and her and I, or him and I, we don't get along for whatever reason. Doesn't matter who started what, doesn't matter who did what to who. We don't like each other. I may or may not know that you work at the Tally Strip. I don't care. If I show up and I want to order a drink and I see you serving drinks as a bartender, I'm going to go to another bartender instead. Because you're not the only bartender in the entire club. So why am I going to go out of my way to interact with you if I don't have to? If I have the options to go to other bartenders, I'm going to do that. Let me give you another non-club example. If I'm at a store, and let's say there's a cashier that I know. I may or may not know that he works there. But I show up where he works at, and he's working the register, and I don't like him. Instead of going to his line, I'm going to go to self-checkout or go to a different cashier. I don't go out of my way to interact with people that I don't like. I'm willing to confront people that I don't like, but not at their job and not at their homes. I don't do that. I'm not completely disrespectful either. I still show respect where it's owed. I make eye contact when I speak to people. I hold the door open when people are walking into a store behind me. I acknowledge people when they speak to me, if they do so in a respectful manner. I shake your hand when I'm introduced to you. I still show respect where it is owed. But there are certain people that I've spoken about this several times, there are certain people who just act so retarded and just have no respect for anybody but themselves that I genuinely do not care if they live or die. There are some people who are just so rude that when I see them, I literally just walk past them as if they're a ghost, as if they don't exist. Some of you people, you might not like somebody and you might show up at their job to try to get them fired, or you might complain to their apartment complex and try to get them evicted. That's not the method I use to strike back at my enemies. My method is pretty simple, actually, is exposure. If they did something, let me give you a perfect example. There are several I can use. Dylan Hodges threatened me and spread rumors about me across the city. So I posted screenshots of our conversation of what actually happened versus what he said happened on the internet, and I made fun of him on the podcast. That's my way of striking back at somebody. I'm not going to run up to somebody and hit them or assault them or steal from them. I'm not going to try to get them fired. I'm not going to try to show up at their place of work to irritate them. So if you see me show up to the place where you happen to work at, I can assure you it is purely coincidental. Because I go where I want to go. I'm not going to stop going somewhere just because there's someone that works there or goes there that I don't like. Unless, let's say there's a convenience store and I know that you work there Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. And I know you're at this convenience store I know for a fact that you're at this convenience store working Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. and you're the only cashier at that convenience store and I don't like you, then I'll just go to another convenience store, or I'll go to the convenience store when you work where you work at when I know that you're not working, when I know that it's your day off, or I know that you're not scheduled. However, chances are I'm probably just going to go to a different convenience store, because what if you pick up a shift? What if you are working extra hours? What if you change your schedule? Now I go into this convenience store and now I have to see your stupid face. Is it so important that I go to this convenience store that I have to talk to somebody that I don't like? Let me be frank with you guys. I don't interact with anybody that I don't want to. That's why when the manager approached me and tried to detain me, I looked him right in the face and I said to him, I'm not talking to you. That's why when the girl wanted to dance with me and I didn't want to dance with her and she begged me to dance with her anyway, I flicked her off. That's why when the homeless guy tried to sell me his underwear, I told him to fuck off. Because I don't interact with people that I don't want to interact with. Why should I? Why the fuck should I? If I had to guess why I'm being trespassed from the strip, my first assumption would be that the man was upset that I didn't stop to talk to him. Because it was only when I said I'm not talking to you that he immediately jumped out. Okay, trespass. So that's a possibility. My second guess is they might be holding a grudge because I have beef with an employee or several employees, even though it has nothing to do with the company. Because I can't actually say that are people that happen to work there or have worked there, because I don't keep up with these people. I don't know if they've graduated or if they still work there or they got fired. I don't know. I don't keep up with people I don't like. I don't know what they're up to. But there are people that I do not get along with that have worked at the Tally Strip at one point. So it's possible that they're holding a grudge on me because I pissed off people that work for them, whether it was something I said, maybe I made fun of them online, maybe I made a podcast episode about something they did. Who knows? I will say, and this is what I really have a strong feeling about, and I mentioned this in the beginning of the episode, I did have an argument with one of their managers. Her name is Oriana Simone. So months ago, this actually happened only a few days after the school shooting at FSU. There is a girl that I used to hang out with. Her name is Ivana Major. We used to get along, and I cut her off because she's, generally speaking, a fake person. She acts sweet when you meet her, but once you get to know her, you realize that she's actually just a bitch. She only cares about her friends and her inner circle, and she's not really respectful towards anyone else outside of that. One incident in particular, I remember one time we were FaceTiming, and she was at some frat house, and one of the guys looked over at her phone screen, and when he saw who she was talking to, he recognized me, and he made fun of my teeth. And I forget what exactly I said to him, but I made fun of him back. And Iva said to me, Adonis, don't do that, that's me. And I said, how are you gonna let him, okay, so let me get this straight. You repeatedly call me your friend. You call me your friend, we follow each other online, you've told people that we're friends. You let him speak to me that way. That's fine, I'm capable of taking care of myself. That's not what upsets me. What upsets me is that when I insult him back, now you want to defend him when he's the one who started a problem with me. And you know that he's the one who started a problem with me because you're right here next to him. I'm talking to you on the phone, and he comes out of nowhere, Adonis, your teeth look funny. I make fun of him back. Adonis, that's mean. Oh, so he can be mean to me and I'm supposed to just take it like a little bitch? The fuck does he get your protection for? So yeah, that pissed me off. And there were a lot of similar situations where she treated me in a similar manner. And I was like, okay, so this girl doesn't have any respect for me whatsoever, so I cut her off. Months went by, I came across her TikTok on my For You page, and I noticed her doing weird shit. For example, there's one video where she quite literally pushes a guy off a couch and grabs onto his foot and starts playing with it. And I reposted it to my Instagram, and I said something to the effect of, I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, these are the kind of people who say that I'm weird, or these are the kind of people who say that I'm a lowlife, these are the kind of people who make fun of me for the things I say and do or whatever, and this is how they're acting on the internet, mind you. They're acting rather strangely, and then instead of feeling embarrassed about it, they record themselves doing it, and then they post it on the internet for the entire world to see. But then they have the audacity to come after me and tell me that I'm a weird ass, or that I'm a psychopath, or they use quite strong and quite heinous language to describe me, to try and make me seem like some mental freak that has no control over his actions, including Iva. Iva's one of those people. I posted maybe 2 of her TikToks on my page making fun of them. And out of nowhere, Oriana shows up. She puts in the comments, "Take this down now." And then she DMs me. I'm going to read to you the entire conversation. So she DMs me, "Hey, feel free to reach out to me for any concerns. As a manager at Tally Strip, it's quite inappropriate to continuously post our staff in that manner. If you choose not to, we'll have a civil convo with you outside of social media." This was my response. Hey, so this has absolutely nothing to do with the Tally Strip, regardless of the fact that the people I speak of may or may not work for you guys. If you're talking specifically about Ivana, there were a few instances in the past where she made fun of me and also spread rumors about me to her friends and other people. Those videos were simply me publicly striking back at her for the things said and done. Once again, my actions have absolutely nothing to do with the Tally Strip. Allow me to better explain the situation better, seeing as how you're automatically taking your employee's side without knowing the full story. You're probably not going to believe me, but I'm going to say it anyway. Ivana has continuously gone out of her way to disrespect me, which is why I cut ties with her, and also made fun of her in my post, which you commented on. And I am the kind of person to mess back. I don't care who it is or who's involved. You fuck with me, I fuck right back. I do not sit around and take shit from people like a little bitch. That being said, when striking back at people, there are rules that I follow. 1, I don't fuck with their jobs. 2, I don't mess with their homes. 3, I don't do anything illegal. Those videos are on a public TikTok account with downloads on and comments on. I understand you're concerned for your staff, and I don't know if she came to you or if this is just something, or if you just came across this, but Ivana is not as innocent as she pretends to be. That being said, the Tally Strip is not at all involved in this matter. I am not approaching her at her job. I am not sharing any pictures or videos of her at her job or in uniform. Therefore, whatever drama we have with each other, regardless of who's at fault or who started it, this has nothing to do with the Strip, and I'm afraid you getting involved is out of your jurisdiction. I don't know exactly what you mean by having a quote-unquote convo outside of social media, but I'll tell you right now, it's a waste of time. When I posted those videos, I was not thinking I'm posting a Tally Strip employee. I'm thinking I'm striking back at Ivana. And for argument's sake, let's pretend she's completely innocent and I just started attacking her online for no reason whatsoever. It still does not involve the Tally Strip by any means whatsoever. Everyone has their own personal drama, regardless of where they work. I will continue to handle my problems the way I see fit, regardless if onlookers think it's right or wrong. The day that I tag Strip in a negative post an inappropriate picture or video of staff on the job, or harass employees while they're at work, then come talk to me. But I have done none of those things, nor do I plan to. I'm afraid this situation is well out of the jurisdiction of the Tally Strip and its management. And the reason why I never approached you with this problem is because this is something regarding me and Ivana personally. I do not expect her job to take responsibility for her actions, just as my job does not take responsibility for mine unless I'm on the clock. Since this issue did not occur on Strip property or while Ivana was working, I decided to take matters into my own hands and handle the situation myself in a way I thought was reasonable and fit. She left me unopened for days, mind you. So I texted her back a few days later, to be exact on April 19th. I said to her, all right, so I don't know if you're now avoiding me or why you're not responding, but I have one more thing to add. There are 2 people dead and 6 hospitalized because of the shooting on FSU's campus. I thought people would wake up and realize there's more to life than petty rivalries, but apparently I was wrong. Because while you're over here worrying about me making fun of people who just so happen to work for you, people are in the hospital with bullets in their backs. Kids are scared to go to school on Monday. You want to know the main reason I don't get along with most people here? Because they, like you, stick their noses in business that does not concern them. They escalate the situation. They choose sides before they even know half of the story. I used to think highly of you, Oriana. But where I used to see a respectable woman, I now see a grown woman acting like a child, that someone was stupid enough to appoint to management, getting involved in a petty rivalry. Life is finite, this universe finite, its resources finite. There are real problems in the world, like the tragedy that happened on campus, and you're over here worried about a social media post you can do nothing about. What do you mean by civil convo? I would like to know, because what are you and your peers afraid to say online that it needs to be kept private? Personally, I'm sensing it as a disguised threat. So we're not going to have that quote-unquote civil convo. If you or anyone else from management wants to talk about this situation, you can talk to me in my DMs or in a public location where everyone can see and hear everything. That's my final note. This whole situation is stupid. You getting yourself and your business involved is stupid, and I no longer think of you or the tally strip in a positive manner. So, this was her response days later on April 21st. Wow, I absolutely think we'd be mature and cordial enough to have a civil convo outside of social media so you're aware of my truest intentions. This hurt me to my core. Not your thoughts about me, but how you've spoken to me. I've had nothing but great things to say about you for as long as I've known you. I've never had any negative interaction with you up until now. I'm aware how social media verbiage and messaging can be misconstrued. I actually took pride in giving you the opportunity to hear your side because, again, I consider you to be a great acquaintance and I still think highly of you. Again, my apologies that I made you feel that way and I didn't elaborate more for you. As an adult and compassionate human, I stand up for what's right, the same way I advocate for anyone I love. In no way did I intend to harm or threaten you in any manner. I'll be sure to keep my receipts for proof. It's quite lucid to me how you now feel about me. Thank you for that. I will no longer try to gain understanding since I have no clue what's going on. My apologies. This is none of my business, as you said, and this is verbalized proof of the tally strip does not condone bullying or injustice of any sort or kind. We are also not, quote-unquote, taking responsibility for anyone. I weirdly assumed we'd have a convo and just resume as normal. I wouldn't have, quote-unquote, taken any side of any human being that is being unjust to another human. My apologies, take care. That was the last I ever heard from her. Months later, to be more specific, June 17th, I said to her, hey, I have some information you might want to know. A girl posted a video admitting that she took off someone's hat and threw it on the ground at the strip. Someone commented she works there and was grateful as it was a Trump hat. And I sent her a screenshot of a TikTok that someone posted. So there's a video of a girl who admitted that someone was wearing a MAGA hat. In Ken's, I believe. So she snatched the hat and threw it down and then made a video about it. And people are celebrating in the comments, making Tally a better place. Thank goodness for you. This girl with the username Otis_supremacy said, as someone who works there and can't do it myself, thank you for your service. The creator, whose name is Sophia David, responded, I got you. And someone else named Kenna responded, girl, please, I was just about to say this. doing a public service for the bar staff. So after I sent the screenshot to Oriana, I also said to her, now, I don't know what your political preferences are, nor do I care. That is irrelevant. But I think encouraging bad behavior such as snatching someone's hat is wrong. A while ago, you told me that if I had concerns to talk to you, so that's why I'm sending this to you. She ignored that completely, never responded. So, I kind of had respect. I kind of regained some respect for her. When she originally tried to confront me about the situation with Ivana, I immediately lost all respect that I had for her because I used to have a lot of respect for her, and then I lost it all because you don't know the full story. You haven't heard my side of the story. Why are you even getting involved? This has nothing to do with you or the company you work for or the company that you manage. So I lost respect. When she apologized rather than argue with me, which I was surprised because most people that I've dealt with, instead of admitting that they were wrong and apologizing, they proceed to argue or they do something heinous like try to get me evicted from my apartment or they try to get me arrested or just something that's just wrong, which then further proves my point about them being a bad person. So I was actually surprised that she was apologetic about it, and I somewhat regained some respect. I stopped going to the strip after this, though. A big reason is because I stopped going out in general because I was tired of the drama, but I specifically stopped going to the tally strip because why am I going to go give my business to a company that's going to stick their nose in mine? The only reason I went to the strip this past Saturday was quite literally is because I wanted to see my friend who was in town for his birthday. If he wasn't here, I would not have gone there at all. And similarly, because I've lost respect for the tally strip and the way they handle things and the way they're getting involved in my business that is not their concern, that is also why I didn't approach the bar once for a drink because I didn't want to deal with anyone under their employment whatsoever. I love how Oriana specifically says that this is verbalized proof that Tally Strip does not condone bullying or injustice of any sort or kind. Okay, yet you have people working for you that are on the internet encouraging other people to snatch hats simply because we don't agree politically. So first of all, that's that. Wow, another crime. Snatching someone's hat and throwing it on the ground, or snatching someone's hat and taking off with it. I don't know what the girl did with the hat, but she snatched his hat. That is theft. Theft is a crime. So wow, we got another crime happening at the tally strip. Wow, what a surprise. She also said, I wouldn't have taken any side of any human that is being unjust to another human. Oh, but your employees are on the internet encouraging your guests to steal hats from other guests simply because they don't agree with the political message. So you go out of your way to DM me about something that has nothing to do with you or your company just because this girl happens to work for you guys. But then when I show you something that is actually concerning, there are people going to your establishment stealing from other people and your employees are encouraging it, suddenly no one cares. You don't care, the strip doesn't care, no one cares. It's probably still happening right now as we speak. So she went from being responsive when we were arguing about the whole Ivana situation where she was wrong. She herself admitted that she was completely 100% in the wrong. But when I bring something that actually should not be happening because not only is it wrong, but it's technically a crime, she just ignores it. Now I'm thinking, okay, well, now we're back to square one where I no longer have any respect for you because you're a fucking hypocrite. You want to talk about how you stand up to injustice, but you ignore things that are happening on your property that are unjust and also illegal. So yeah, let's talk about their employees really quick. It seems that most of their employees, like Ivana, are straight up cunts. They act in ways that are disrespectful towards other people, both on and off the property. they do things like encourage guests to steal from them. Oh, I remember when they used to have this great photographer. And they got rid of him and replaced him with a shitty one. So, do I have good things to say about the tally strip? Not anymore. No, I don't. Why was I trespassed? Why do they have a problem with me? I don't know, because they won't tell me. They literally said, we have a problem with this kid. Okay, what's the problem? We're not telling you. How the fuck am I supposed to fix it then? How am I supposed to correct my behavior if I did anything wrong? How am I supposed to fix a situation? How do you... this is evidence that you just want to cause problems for the sake of causing problems. How are you going to come to me with a problem and then deny me the opportunity to fix said problem? So we have no fucking clue why I am now trespassed from the tally strip. But here are my guesses to end off the episode. 1, the fat guy was upset that I didn't obey his commands. 2, there's some sort of drama between me and people who just so happened to work there, and management decided to get involved when they should not have, and they said, okay, let's trespass him because we don't want him around here. Would it be the first time they got involved in something that they shouldn't be involved in? Or 3, they're holding a grudge because of that conversation I had with Oriana when I put her in her place because she was completely out of her jurisdiction. Those are my guesses. I don't regret any of the things that I am saying on this podcast because I'm quite furious at them for what they've done. And I don't care that if I'm being too harsh. I don't care if this is too much to handle. I'm showing them no mercy whatsoever. Because what they've done, that's not how you treat people. That's not how you behave in a civilized society. And I absolutely love how there are people like this who treat me in this manner, and then they have the audacity to say that I'm the bad guy. Fuck you guys. I hope your liquor license gets revoked and you go out and your business gets forcefully shut down by law, because absolutely everyone listening to this podcast knows for a fact that it should have happened a long time ago. I do have a page called Go to the Fucking Club on Instagram. That's Go to the Fucking Club, not Go to the Fucking Club. I created it back in 2023. I genuinely liked the bar scene at Tallahassee, and I felt that it wasn't getting enough attention. And I wanted to promote nightlife at places like the Tally Strip, like at Recess. I eventually attempted to become a club promoter and get paid for it, but originally speaking, I was basically promoting these clubs for free. And then I stopped. The page hasn't been deleted, it's still up. I kind of just stopped entirely because I then got into podcasting, I got into politics. My interest shifted, but also because these clubs started treating me like absolute dog shit, kind of like how Tally Strip is doing right now. And I said, okay, well, then if you're gonna treat me like shit, then I'm not gonna promote your business, especially for free. Last I checked, the Tally Strip still follows me on Go to the Fucking Club. I unfollowed all their pages. Crazy how they want to start a problem with me, and then they follow me on social media. Isn't that ironic? I never understood. How can you have an issue? I see so many people saying, oh, I hate person, I hate that person. But then they follow them on social media. Bro, what are you doing? I have haters who send me hate messages, who send me death threats. But they follow me on social media. It's like, if you hate me so much, then why the fuck are you giving me your attention? I don't follow a single person that I dislike. Even if I slightly dislike them, I don't follow them. But because I'm no longer involved in the Tally nightlife, I've considered deleting my Go to the Fucking Club page and instead focusing more on my podcast. But I have a better idea. Go to the Fucking Club came first. Go to the Fucking Club has a larger following than my other pages. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Go to the Fucking Club as a weapon to expose all the nightclubs that are treating me like dog shit. and getting on my nerves and getting on my backside. I'm going to use this instead of posting promotions and discount codes and telling you why nightlife is so great. I'm going to instead use my page to tell you why you should not go to certain places in Tallahassee, why you should not go to certain venues, you should not go to certain nightclubs. I will gather evidence and post every ounce of evidence that I have against these places. Now, like I've said throughout the episode, I don't particularly like to get involved in things that do not directly affect me or do not concern me. So I'm not going to automatically just start attacking every single nightclub in Tallahassee. So heed this as a warning to anyone who's involved in any kind of nightlife, whether you're a supervisor or a manager or whatever your position is. Heed this as a warning. Do not get on my bad side, or else I will expose you. If we have a problem, we can discuss said problem and see if we can resolve it. If you want to just cause trouble for me and cause a problem for the sake of causing a problem like Recess did, like the Strip did, then I'm going to create an even bigger problem for you. And a big reason why I become so powerful is because I cannot be stopped due to the things that I am saying and doing are completely legal. You all have to do illegal things to try and stop me, and you still fail. Meanwhile, I'm doing what I do best, and it is all 100% legal, which is why I'm able to get away with it, which is why they can't shut me down, which is why they cannot stop me. I cannot say this clearly enough. Right now, the top places on my radar are the Tally Strip and Recess. Warehouse and Clyde's too, I'm not as concerned about, but they are on my radar also because they are owned by Recess. Right now, those are the only places on my radar. The other nightclubs and bars in Tallahassee, so far, they haven't done anything to me personally to make me upset at them or come after them in any way. But I'm noticing a repeat pattern here where people are coming after me and I don't even know why. It's come to the point now where businesses are coming after me and I don't even know why. That's how I know that what I'm doing is effective, because if what I was doing was not effective, they would literally just ignore me. They wouldn't trespass me. They wouldn't confront me online. They would just ignore me. They would say, what a loser, ignore him. But clearly I'm doing something that is affecting them and their business, because why did we go from random civilians insulting me and telling me to shut it down because they don't like it, to now we have entire businesses getting involved. Florida State trying to get me arrested over a doll. I have proof of that. I have shared this proof on this podcast multiple times, countless times. So clearly what I'm doing works and what I'm doing is effective, and you know it. And another reason why I don't agree with the whole trespassing system is what happens, and what will most likely happen to me, but this could happen to anybody who is generally disliked by the general public. You could get trespassed from fucking everywhere. Because there are few properties that are government owned. Mostly everything is privately owned. I'm already trespassed from 3 different places. For stupid reasons, or in the most recent one, I don't even know the reason. There might not even be a reason. So some people might say, oh yeah, Adonis, you've had bad luck with the whole Annabelle case and Nova giving you a hard time and the cops on your ass for like a week straight and whatnot. Actually, it could have been a lot worse. Listen, Tallahassee is a very small community. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone is connected somehow. What's stopping them from saying, you know what, we don't like Adonis and we can't arrest him, but you know what, there's other ways we can strike back at him. Let's trespass him from every single establishment in the city. Let's trespass him from every bar, trespass him from every nightclub, trespass him from every gas station, grocery store, every convenience store, every restaurant, any business that we use every single day for necessities and for pleasure. We're gonna trespass from him all. Okay, so now I can't go in grocery stores and do do food shopping. Now I can't go into restaurants to order my dinner. So now I have to spend more money on DoorDash and other services. Oh no, you know what? Let's ban him off of DoorDash too. Let's ban him off of Uber. Let's ban him off of everything. Let's make it so that he can quite literally go only from his apartment to wherever he works at, back to his apartment, and on public roads and public sidewalks. You know what? Where does he work at? Let's get him fired. You know what? Where does he live at? Let's get him evicted. Again. Okay, great. Now Adonis is in the street. Well, there's people that have a problem with that. There are homeless people that get arrested because technically it's illegal to sleep in the street. Let me confirm that. It is not illegal to be homeless, but it is illegal in many jurisdictions to engage in life-sustaining activities in public, such as sleeping or camping in public places, which effectively criminalizes homelessness for those without shelter options. The Supreme Court's ruling affirmed that cities can ban people from sleeping in public, allowing them to enforce such ordinances. While the state of being homeless is not a crime, many communities pass anti-homelessness laws that punish behaviors necessary for survival, leading to arrests, ticketing, and fines, even when alternative housing is unavailable. So let's say Tallahassee does this, and I really wouldn't be surprised if they did, or at least try to, based on what they've put me through already. Let's say they trespass me from absolutely everywhere you could think of. They get me evicted again. They get me fired. Now I'm living on the street. Okay, well, we caught you sleeping in a bush or on a public sidewalk or somewhere where you're not supposed to sleep. We're arresting you. Oh, but wait, the homeless shelters. Nope, you're trespassed from there too. At this point, I'd rather commit a crime and plead guilty and go to jail. Oh no, you're not going to jail. What do you mean? Yeah, we're trespassing you from the jails and the prisons too. Guess the death penalty will have to do. I know this sounds retarded, but this is the world we're living in. Y'all might say, oh, well, this seems unlikely. Well, look at what they've done already. The entire city came after me over a doll. Don't you think Florida State has bigger problems to worry about? Like upping their security because of a mass school shooter versus someone walking around with a plastic doll? Don't you think Nova Tally, the apartment complex, has bigger things to worry about than worrying about some guy sitting in their lobby with their doll at 3 o'clock in the morning when no one's even down here anyway? You think that the Strip should be more concerned with the homeless folks sleeping in their parking garage and harassing their customers versus someone like me who's quite literally just minding his own business? Everyone listening, more specifically to the businesses listening, stay off of my bad side. You can either get on my good side or you can choose not to interact with me at all and let me mind my own business and you mind yours. The minute I even get a hint that you're on my bad side or about to be, I will expose you and I will send you into bankruptcy. And there is nothing that you can say or do about it except sit there and suffer like the little bitches you are.